In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good morning and welcome to Trinity. Thank you for the singing. Thank you for the music. Not to start singing. Music was my first love and it will be my last, and so on. Just to quote some songs that I've been bellowing since early childhood. You probably have seen many billboards along 95 announcing, "Life is better with a boat." Sure, being on the Long Island Sound in a boat is fabulous, but owning a boat, I don't know if you've ever owned a boat, it's a tremendous amount of work. Life is not better with a boat. If the billboard could have said, "Life is better with music," that would have been spot on. Life is so much better with music. Imagine a life without music. So this summer we are dedicating a number of sermons to the importance of music in our worship here at Trinity. This initiative was not only inspired by the 400th anniversary of William Byrd's death, who is considered to be the father of English classical music and sacred music, but our series is also inspired by the legacy of sacred music here at Trinity. This fall we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Trinity's Girls Choir, already 20 years, yes. Next year, 2024, we will be celebrating Walden's 40th year as Trinity's Director of Music. And then in 2025, it just so happens, our Trinity Boys Choir will celebrate its 140th anniversary here at Trinity. So legacy, plenty. It is obvious we take music very seriously here, and so maybe it's time to press the pause button just for 1 second, so that the purpose of music gets some attention. Because why do we sing so much? First and foremost, it's to connect with the essence of life that resonates in our hearts. So that what is in our heart, or what comes to our heart, gets support, gets attention. So I invite you just at this very moment to connect with your heart and all that is in it. And maybe to a certain extent, to connect where your heart is in search of a song. Because this is so important. There may be wonderful melodies, there may be beautiful polyphonic music, but the reason why we sing is to lift up your hearts. Of course, we sing here as a religious Christian congregation because Jesus sang. He sang a lot. 3 times a day he was reciting psalms. At that time it was singing, not polyphonic. It was plain chant at the time, while he was in his last hours, he was singing psalms. It says that specifically after the Last Supper they went out in the garden to sing psalms, and even on the cross he was reciting Psalm 22, my God, why have you forsaken me?" which is the title of the 22nd Psalm. In the New Testament, Psalms are quoted 400 times, more than any other book. So music clearly was at the core of the faith community from the beginning. There are many strengths that we could discuss for music. The power to unite people. This summer I went with a lifelong friend that I have known since preschool. Go figure. We've known each other since age 4. We went to have beers on the town square, and there was a big sing-along, as has become the tradition now for 20 years. And we sang music in Dutch. Yes, there is Dutch music. It's and also in French. I mean, it was most of all, if you're there with hundreds and thousands of people, you probably have been to concerts. The connection that is being fostered by the music is so transcendent, it's inexplicable, and you feel so nourished by it. These are the strengths of music, but today I would like to highlight the one that is closest to us when we come to church. And it's best summarized by Mary's song, the Magnificat. The word Magnificat means to elevate, to magnify, to expand. And that's exactly what the music here on Sunday is trying to do. that it expands our hearts with one another, especially when you sing and you sing for each other. You can start to feel the energy of life, the sense of hope. Even if you cannot sing so well, you can hear your neighbor bellowing that hymn that everybody loves, and you feel the energy in the room. It is fantastic. And at the same time, that elevation of the heart is also lifting up the joy of life that God is giving us. There is a sense of gratitude that is being triggered. And sometimes we are not in the mood at all, and you feel like your life is in the pit, and you're, maybe have a sense of depression, and then comes the song, "Sweet, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home." Even if I cannot sing just because of the pain, these simple melodies from long time ago with texts that are so poignant, they lift us up. This is why we sing. And this is where there is a tipping moment sometimes that from despair to hope is brought by music. I'll give you a couple of examples. I don't know. It's not because I want to tap into classical music necessarily, but I find it most easiest to refer to that tipping moment. You probably have heard Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto. It's the best. For some reason, it doesn't have a title. It's just entitled Opus 60, after the Eroica and before the Emperor, the other piano concertos. But in the middle of that piano concerto is an andante con moto, and it starts very ominous. No, 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 no. And you think like, oh, what's happening? You know, we have to be afraid. And then the piano starts to talk to that ominous sound. And the piano does that very quietly, very tenderly, very intimately. The palette of emotions there is complex. It probably is so beautiful because it's very close to what we experience. You feel the dangerous powers of the world arriving at your doorstep. And then there is that still small voice speaking with you, saying, "Do not be afraid, we're gonna make it." And then the music continues to a climax, to a tipping point, and it's the most gentle, high note piano touch that you can imagine. And yet it is so powerful that you can feel like, oh my, we're gonna get through this. Listen to it, the Fourth Piano Concerto. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, jump to the second part. It is really fantastic. Or another example that maybe is more visual, you may have seen the movie Shawshank Redemption, where the music of La Nozze de Figaro is being used. There is Tim Robbins in the character of Andy Dufresne, sitting in the warden's office, and he has the opportunity to do musical mutiny. He switches on the sound system of the whole prison and locks the door, puts on the record of this La Nozze de Figaro, and selects the duet Sull'aria. You probably have sung it in the shower maybe one time. It's very, very beautiful. But it has that arresting, paralyzing, transforming power there that is visualized by all these prisoners coming to a halt. Nobody is moving anymore, just everyone is in awe with the music. And then Morgan Freeman's voice comes in, which is music in itself. And he comments on the incident saying, "For the briefest of moment, every last man at Shawshank felt free." And that is what music does, It arrests you in your tracks. It surprises you at moments, and it elevates you to a level of freedom. The bills, your worries, whatever is next, even time sometimes. When I start listening to music, I literally sometimes forget time. I'm swept away. And you come to a different dimension of life. There's so many more examples that I could give about this interruption from stress, the stress of survival, and music transporting you in the comfort of being alive. There are here, when the choirs end their choir here, there are these graduating blessings that are being sung, there is the one from Rudder, the Lord bless you and keep you, or the Gaelic blessing, nicknamed the garlic blessing. The choirs have all kind of their own humor here. It's fantastic. But the choristers kneel then there on the communion rail, and they call to God, and at the same time they call for Kleenex. It's such a touching moment. Or every night I happen to have done this with my daughter. We end the day, almost every day, we end the day with a song, and we sing together. And it's just this musical touch that doesn't even last a minute sometimes. It depends on the song. For me, and I will, just because I'm sharing, don't get me wrong, it's not that my repertoire is caught in the classical genre. I just want to highlight, I love Adele, Katy Perry, Imagine Dragons, New Republic, U2, Pearl Jam, Neil Diamond even, the Beatles, Pharrell Williams, jazz music. I love it all, really. I go for it. But one of the songs that arrested me in my tracks way back when, and maybe it's because I have this propensity to go to the roots of things, including from music, is a melody from the 10th century. And if you have ever heard this, and it's best placed in a building from the 10th to the 12th century, it's Gregorian chant. If you ever have the chance to go to a concert of Gregorian chant in a Romanesque church, I'll sing it to you just quickly. Kyrie eleison. It's music that transports you to a different dimension of life as well. And also what's beautiful with Gregorian chant is it's a different rhythm of life. It makes you pause. It sings not to the beat of the drum, but it sings to the beat of the heart, which is rather slow for music, but it's so homecoming. If there is anything in church when we are singing that I wish you as an experience, is exactly that transformative moment, that transition where you can extract yourself for a couple of seconds from the stresses and the influences of things where we feel we have to be in survival, and where you can magnify the Lord, expand your heart to the comfort of being alive, unabashedly. It's almost like with a bar mitzvah in Judaism. Everyone should be invited here one time in your life to come to the front and chant. Present the song of your heart, so that you can get used to the beauty of taking time for the song of your heart, the melody of your soul. What makes you sing in life? And entering in that comfort, even if it's out of tune, even if it's not the right rhythm and so on, letting your heart sing like Mary did. It's such a gift to yourself and to each other. Listening to the music of our hearts requires at times also a moment of silence. As contradictorily as the sounds, music does indeed need silence in order to be appreciated, in order to be taken in. So maybe today you can, instead of listening to the Fourth Piano Concerto of Beethoven, you can just listen to the silence, the sound of silence. I'm not going to sing that one either. And how it expands your soul. So let us sing then. Let us magnify the Lord, expand our hearts, put the world on pause, and connect with the redeeming, healing, dignifying power of music. You probably have seen the title of that booklet, Don't Forget to Sing in the Lifeboats. It's a book full of quotes. But the title itself is really beautiful. So, the dignifying power of music, because music makes us all better beings. Amen.